Welcome to this Frank Talk with Zavi, and today we are having a very interesting topic that we're going to look at, and with our special guest whom I will introduce to you. But firstly, we have to look at what has COVID-19 taught us, especially small businesses. If we look at the development in a country, and today you look at a lot of small businesses that are waiting for the government funding. Most of them applied, and some, to an extent, they are getting 350 rand grant. But how did we get here? I believe that as small businesses, had we thought about savings, had we thought about financial planning, had we thought about innovations, our way of keeping money somewhere, would not be in distress. And to teach us more in terms of how we can save for future, how we can plan for our businesses, because COVID-19, we are not guaranteed that this is the last episode, or this is the last situation that we are faced with. I was reading one of the quote that said that a decade can be it says that you can have a decade in 10 years, but sometimes you can have in a week the whole decade, something like that. Meaning that there are some situations that we don't plan for, but at the end of the day, we get to face them and we get to experience them. With me today, I'm with Mr Dumehlezi Maseko, who's the financial advisor, who's going to help us as small businesses to say, how do we deal with these things? How do we save our money? Mr Maseko, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Just tell us who is Dumehlezi and how has been your journey in entrepreneurship so far?
Actually, I started with entrepreneurship when I was in high school.
Wow.
I used to sell T-shirts and caps for my brother who had a clothing brand. And and since then I've just loved entrepreneurship. I just loved having my own money. I mean, you can imagine if you're a young entrepreneur, you're never without money. And after that, they didn't seem to manage their finances properly. So I went into delivering tiles for people who buy tiles at your CTMs and your Tile Africa and so forth. Okay. So after years later, I decided to open my own company, which is a marketing agency. Okay. That's when I realized that financial planning is good, because most people do not understand what it is. I mean, you have a lot of money, and if your money stays there, the government taxes it. So knowing all the right ways of where to put your money is very beneficial for you. So that is how my journey has been so far, in a summary.
Oh, that's great. And you touched on something very important, or very crucial, because most of the young people think that while they are still at a high school, what they are doing is a hobby. It's just a game. But they don't realize the business side of things. To say, and often it's when we have grown up that you look back and say, wow, actually that was entrepreneurship.
Yes. Actually, it's more entrepreneurship then, because you can imagine as a young person, right? All you're thinking is having money in your pocket. But you have to learn very quick there how much markup you need to put on your products. What's the cost of getting that product to your client? At first as an entrepreneur, you specifically me with selling caps and T-shirts, is that you go there and you say you just sell them probably very close to cost, and then you realize afterwards that, hey, I think I've robbed myself in this instance. And then you learn, but it's so nice because you learn. When I was in high school, I don't think I had any expenses. So it was not so bad. But you learn the lesson then. that you need to make your markups very good, so that you're able to at least grow on that in that aspect.
Wow, that's very interesting. What are the common challenges that entrepreneurs face, and how can they avert them, especially in their small businesses?
Entrepreneurs cannot avert some things. Some things you just have to learn the hard way, unfortunately. That's why you go into entrepreneurship. You don't go there thinking it's
like
smooth sailing. But there are some things, like for instance, one of the biggest things that you need to know as an entrepreneur is you need to first thing master how to anticipate something. As an entrepreneur, you know that your supplier you go to the supplier and they don't have the product that you want, and you make another plan. So with financial things, what happens when you do not have the capital to do that, to start your project, to finish your project, so you plan. So you either, one of the things that you do, you might want to invest some of the capital when you're doing well, or sometimes you invest into something that will bring passive income from the company. So those are some of the things that you can do, but some other lessons that are very hard found. So my biggest takeaway from what you can do is that you must be able to anticipate what your business is going to perform in which situation.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that actually makes a lot of sense, because obviously for you to anticipate, you need to have some goals set, in terms of how your business should run, and which is what most entrepreneurs struggle with, to set up their goals. But now, when it comes to choosing the best financial product, what should entrepreneur look for before making that choice?
The lovely thing about financial products is that they are all tailored for your specific need. It might look like a general product, but the first thing that you must look for is that you must make sure that your equipment, or the thing that generates money for you, is properly insured.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, or you've made plans that if one breaks, like for instance, if you work with computers and your computer breaks and you don't have capital to replace it, that's a problem. So that's the first thing I would say. Make sure that you get a financial product that ensures that your equipment is insured, or you're able to replace it when it breaks. Because if you are unable to deliver on your goods, you are not making money.
So what you're saying is that financial planning, it's not about necessarily saving money for yourself, but even taking insurance and policies for your assets.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's actually the primary one.
Okay.
I'd say before you even save for your business, make sure, because you could save. Let's make an example. If you save, let's say, you have assets that are worth 100,000, and you save, let's say 5,000. On your third month, one of your main assets breaks, and to replace that asset is about 80,000. Do you have the capital to replace it?
You may not have it.
You may not have the capital, because
the business will just stop.
The business stalls, but if you make sure that it's insured first, you are able to claim from insurance and say, hey, my asset is broken, or my machinery is broken, and now I need to replace it.
Then you are able to continue with the work.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I like that one. Which are the products that you would recommend, be it 3 products that, especially when it comes to big small business, that I would say, I cannot say it's a must, but just to have and say, this is maybe, it could be endowment policy or any other that they must make sure that they have in their businesses?
The first one, depending on what businesses that you're in, obviously, is to make sure that you have that business insurance that insures you. That's the first product that I would recommend for a thing. The next one, I would say that you must have your business assurance, because in business, the business assurance has has three aspects on it. It's got your key man, it's got your buy and sell, and it's got your liability insurance. So I won't go into detail of what that is. But for instance, if you are, the thing is that with entrepreneurs, the business is them.
Oh, yeah.
And they are the business. So they quickly need to move away from that.
Okay.
Because when it comes to scaling, people are not used to dealing with different people because you've built a personal brand rather than a business.
Oh, yeah.
So when you have that, you want to ensure, the next thing that an entrepreneur ensures is make sure that the business goes on with or without them.
You said something very interesting, which some they take business as them and all that. So would that mean that when it comes to financial planning, you need to put a distinction to say this is for business and this is my personal kind of savings that I need to go for?
A very big distinction, because that's what most entrepreneurs, what they see in the bank account, if they see 1 million in the bank account, they think it's their thing. And I say, and I mean, it's been talked about everywhere that a business is its own person, even legally. They say a business is its own entity. If we talk about a business has an ID number. The ID number is called a registration number, by the way, an ID number of a business. And then a business has its own tax number.
Yes.
So, there's a differentiation.
And you have your personal tax
number. So why are we not, as entrepreneurs, separating that and saying that, you know what, here's the person, they've got the thing, and also all the assets go there. So what entrepreneurs fail to do is that when you are giving assets to the company or whatever, you need to record it. And when the company gives you a laptop, it's not your laptop, it's the company's laptop.
So it's a company laptop.
So when you decide to move on to the next project or the next business, you must leave that asset with that business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And not keep it in the boot of your car forever and say,
and say this is mine.
No, quite interesting. What would be somebody's watching and say, look, Mr. Maseko, I haven't started and I've learned from COVID, but where do I go from here? How do I take off? How do I start to save for future either COVID or any other pandemic or any other eventuality that can happen?
First of all, I'd say speak with an expert. When I speak with somebody like me, so that we can start planning, because the planning is very intensive. It is not, and it's specific to you. With that said, do not be a passenger in your own finances. Some people just they just say, okay, I've got an expert here, and so I'm just gonna let him, trust him with things. And then at the end of the day, when things don't go right, they blame the expert.
Oh yeah.
So we do that with lawyers, we do that with accountants, we do that with our financial products. We just say, a lawyer gives you a contract and you say, I trust this contract, you hand it over to the thing.
And strange enough, when you say that, all of them, they've got a disclaimer that whatever I tell you, apply at own risk.
Yes, yeah. And you never see that disclaimer because you never read the contract. Yeah, so...
I agree. So you said, as an expert, they can contact you. How can they get hold of you?
The best way to contact me right now is to go to my LinkedIn profile and leave a message. Or you can call me on 061-495-4101. That's where you can get contact. Those are the platforms that I can.
That you can. No, yeah. That's great. So, Mr. Maseko, thanks very much for your insight and for valued information that you've shared today. And looking forward to having you in future.
Thank you very much. I'll come back.
Thank you for watching Biz Frank Talk. Until next time.